Welcome. So, what if you could get a masterclass from some of the world's absolute best entrepreneurs, all boiled down into one simple, actionable playbook? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We've taken their best frameworks for building a business from scratch and put them all right here. Okay, so let's jump right in. This whole thing kicks off with a really high stakes question. If someone just handed you a box with 100 grand in it, what would you actually do to build a real scalable business? Turns out the answer has way less to do with the cash and everything to do with the frameworks you use from day one.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning, right where you are now. You've got this idea, and it feels brilliant. It feels like a winner. But how do you really know if it's a viable business or just a very expensive hobby? There's actually a way to test it before you waste a single dollar or a minute of your time.
To do that, we're going to borrow a really powerful tool straight from the private equity pros. It's called the moat strategy. And it's basically a simple but tough framework for grading your idea to see if it can actually make you money and, survive in the real world. So let's break this moat thing down. M stands for margin. You've got to have at least a 15% net profit margin. O is for operations. Can this thing actually scale up, or is it always just going to be you trading your time for money? A is for advantage. What's your secret sauce, your unfair edge? And finally, T is for TAM, total addressable market. Is the pond you're fishing in actually big enough? So how do you use it? It's simple. You score each of those four pillars from 1 to 10, and then you add it all up. If you score over 30, that's a green light. Fund it, go for it. If you're between 20 and 30, it's not a no, but it's a fix it. You've got some problems to solve. But if you score below 20, seriously, flee it. Your time and energy are way too valuable to waste on a bad idea. Okay, so you've used the moat framework and your idea is solid. Great. Now comes what might be the single most important decision you'll make when it comes to being profitable. Who exactly are you selling to? You've really only got two choices here. You can play the volume game, which means trying to sell to everybody. That's a world of low margins, super expensive advertising, and just a ton of work. Or you can play the niche game, and that means targeting the affluent. This path, it leads to high margins, much easier marketing, and believe it or not, a whole lot less stress. Let me show you how powerful this is in the real world. So there's this home inspection company, and they were literally 45 days away from going bust. They were completely crushed trying to serve everyone. So they made one tiny, tiny change. They added a single word to their name, luxury. That's all they did. And get this, that one word, luxury, immediately boosted their profit margins by a massive 45%. They didn't learn any new skills, they didn't work any more hours, they just chose a better customer who wasn't shopping on price, but on perceived value. And here's the math behind why that works so well. You see, 90% of people shop on price. That's a race to the bottom you don't want to win. But look at that sweet spot, the affluent niche. It's only 9% of the market, but they control almost half of all the disposable income. And here's the key. They don't buy on price. They buy on passion. That's your target. Okay, so we've got a great idea. We know exactly who we're selling to. Now we have to tackle the one thing that just terrifies most entrepreneurs: what to charge. Let's talk about pricing. Now we're going to start with a question that feels kind of backwards. The real question isn't how many people are saying yes to your price. It's how many people are saying no. The benchmark from the pros is actually really simple. You should be hearing no on your price from 7 out of every 10 prospects. Seriously? If you're closing more than that, it's not a good thing. It's a huge red flag that you are way too cheap and you're leaving a ton of money on the table. The legendary marketer Dan Kennedy had the best rule of thumb for this. He said, go as high as you can without cracking a smile. It's this perfect gut check, right? It forces you to name a price that's right at the edge of your comfort zone, which is probably where it should be. And the impact of pricing higher is it's exponential. Let's look at the math. Doubling your price? Yeah, that might double your revenue, but because so many of your costs are fixed, that extra money drops almost entirely to your bottom line, to your profit. A simple price bump can easily 6 or even 7 times what you actually take home. It's wild. All right, let's pull this all together for our final piece of the puzzle. Having the right idea, the right customer, and the right price, that's a fantastic start. But it means absolutely nothing if no one is listening to you. We have to talk about building real influence. So here's a modern problem that trips up so many people. You see these creators online, right? They've got audiences the size of a country. I mean, 50 million followers. And then they launch a product and sell almost nothing. It's crickets. And why is that? It all comes down to one simple, powerful truth. Attention is not influence. Getting views, getting likes, that's easy. Getting someone to actually trust you enough to pull out their wallet and buy something, that is a completely different ballgame. So to build that kind of real bankable influence, you've got to pull on these four levers. First is status. Do you control something scarce and valuable that people want? Second is power. When people follow your advice, do they get good, tangible results? Third, credibility. Do you have undeniable proof, case studies, results, whatever, that you actually know your stuff? And finally, likeness. Does your audience see themselves and their own values reflected in you? So that's the whole playbook. Let's recap it. First, you validate your idea with a moat framework so you're not wasting your time. Second, you target that affluent niche, the 9% who buy on passion, not price. Third, you price with confidence until you're hearing no 7 out of 10 times. And finally, you focus on building real influence, not just chasing views, using that SPCL framework. So there you have it, the whole playbook, from idea to influence. The frameworks are all laid out, the path is clear. So the only question left, really, is for you. What is the one action you're going to take today to move your business forward?